The Clark County School District is a lightning rod when it comes to public opinion. School board meetings are legendary for, let's say, their spirited discourse, and well, everyone seems to have an opinion on what it would take to get us out of the bottom tier of national evaluations. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, we go right to the top with the newest CCSD superintendent, Jhone Ebert, as we recognize her first 100 days in office. And as a product of public school here in Las Vegas, I have a vested interest in asking, how are we doing? Oh, and after the interview, stick around for a conversation sponsored by Aid for AIDS Nevada about their annual Black and White Party and the uncertainty nonprofits are facing in Las Vegas right now. It's Wednesday, September 17th. I'm David Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Superintendent Ebert, you have logged 100 days in the job so far, give or take, and in education, we deal with report cards. So let's start with what letter grade you give yourself so far.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, what's very interesting, David, is that I give myself letter grades all the time when I'm out in the public, doing speaking engagements, looking at things that have gone out. So, wow, it's a range. It depends on the day. Some days it's an A plus, and then other days it is not an A plus. But the fact of the matter is, we are on a continuum, and we have a lot of work to do. We need to move forward. We are moving forward. 44,000 employees. That's, I think, some people forget how many staff members we have that are out there working and helping 300,000 students to be successful. So I wish I could say every single day is perfect, but it's not.
All right. Well, and 100 days, it's just a start. There's always going to be the little line at the bottom for the teacher to say, shows great potential, looking for improvement, always. But what has been, in that first 100 days, your greatest accomplishment that you 100% could take credit for versus something, maybe that was already in the works by your predecessor?
Great. I really appreciate that question. I mean, first and foremost is the leadership team that has been assembled. We have two new deputy superintendents. We have who both were former employees of the Clark County School District, and they too, just like myself, have come home. We have a new chief financial officer who has done an amazing job. We just issued a couple of bonds, one for $400 million, where we had excellent rates for that bond. Also, too, our chief communications officer. Everyone should be able to see more readily information becoming available, and us being, number one, more transparent with our information, and number two, proactive. Those are a few things to point to, right? No one else said, Jhone, you need to hire these people. But I looked at their expertise, their experience, their passion for children and families, and they have knocked it out of the park. We have knocked it out of the park as a team.
So as far as transparency on more information, what kind of information are we talking about?
Well, oh my gosh, anywhere from budgets. We have the number of students that are enrolled in our schools. Also, too, one of the things that I will celebrate with this administration, we have the fewest licensed vacancies that we've had in over a decade. This time last year, there were 1,000 licensed vacancies, and now we have just around 300. So the decrease, which is a huge increase, and making sure that we have licensed educators in our classroom. Those are some great things to celebrate.
Now, I read some of the information put out by your office and by CCSD, looking back at that first 100 days, looking back at what you've accomplished so far as the new superintendent. And I want to pull out a quote from the very first paragraph of that report that we got sent. And it says, CCSD has big challenges to tackle to become the destination district for students and families. Yet I am confident that we have the talent and support in place to transform our public schools together. And that phrase struck me because I had not heard it before. So first off, what is a destination district?
A destination district is one where everyone feels welcome, that they know that we have excellent academic achievement transpiring in our classrooms, and they want to be there. So, first and foremost, making sure there's student achievement and that people are re-registering, they're coming back to the Clark County School District because we have schools that have been recognized nationally for their work. And that's why our communications team is so huge, because I don't think enough people know the great work that happens within our classrooms.
Is a destination for parents to choose to send their kids to the public schools in CCSD versus, say, charter schools or private schools? Is that what you were more getting at?
That we are their first choice. I definitely believe in parent choice, and I want the Clark County School District to be their first choice.
Are you worried about some of the rhetoric that's out there about charter schools and this parental choice or opportunity vouchers, which, as I understand it, mostly with regard to the latter, the opportunity vouchers, those are mostly religious private schools. I think over 90% are religious based. So is that a concern of yours that you're losing students to them, or that funding's being redirected or argued to be redirected?
Not at all. What I'm concerned with is that parents are not aware of the great work that is happening within the Clark County School District.
Oh, okay.
I just, crossed a parent the other day and I said, hey, where's your kid going to school? Actually, it was just before school started. And they were not aware of which their neighborhood school was. Like they hadn't even visited it, but yet they were choosing another location without even going to their neighborhood school. And you think about it, kids live in a neighborhood, going to that neighborhood school. I got the parents in touch with the school, took a tour, and they actually enrolled their child into the school. So it's awareness of how great our schools are. We need to change what has been out there in the community, and so that they know the positive things that are transpiring.
Yeah, there was a social justice group that was working through my neighborhood, just kind of going door to door. I live near Fremont Middle School, and I actually am an alum of Fremont Junior High. They were letting people know, this is a school that you could send your kids to, which is right down the street. And from what I understand, there was some lack of communication. So I could appreciate why you'd make that a priority to make sure people know what's out there. But I want to push back a little bit. There are already, and I tried to look up the numbers. I'm glad new transparency is coming. Over 285,000 students who are attending CCSD schools. But I also saw a stat that was a little more alarming, that only 1 out of 3 of them is reading at grade level. So what are you and your team doing, not just to increase information about why you should be a destination, but increasing the number of students reading on grade level, which I think would be far more attractive?
Yes, the proficiency level of all of our students needs to grow. Absolutely. We are not where we need to be in that area. And so starting this year with the core 4, especially early literacy, if children do not know how to read and access the content, right? If they do not know how to read, they don't have phonemic awareness, reading comprehension, all of those pieces, they don't have access to mathematics, science, social studies. And so we're starting with our youngest learners, pre-K. It's part of our core 4. When all the data shows that if we have students engaged in pre-K, that they will succeed not only in elementary, but all the way through life. And right now, as a state, we only serve about 11% of those students that are eligible for pre-K. So expanding pre-K seats, number 1. Number 2, the literacy, the proficiency that you were just talking about. Parents in elementary school, we're about to come out with the parent-teacher conferences in just a few short weeks. And I've made it clear that I want the teachers to be specific with the parents of, hey, your child is proficient in mathematics, but needs additional supports in reading. And this is how you can help as a family to make sure that your child does become proficient. So, really engaging with the family, and parents and family members know where their child is on the continuum of learning. And then we have mathematics at the middle level. Again, that has proficiency as well. Our mathematics proficiency is actually lower than our English language arts at the middle level. And so we need to provide the supports there. We've done root cause analysis. We had triage teams. That was part of my interview for this position, that I would put together triage teams, which we did. And they have looked at the root cause of those items. And now we are beginning to address them. The school year has started.
The hottest night of the year is back. AFAN's 39th annual Black and White Party taking over Chaos Nightclub inside the Palms Casino Resort on Saturday, September 20th. This year's Wild West themed celebration is hosted by Frederick Godinez and Alexander Stabler of the design studio Frederick Alexander, and it's your chance to experience an unforgettable night of fashion, entertainment, and community. The entertainment for the evening is stacked. Simone and Mirage from RuPaul's Drag Race, Fantasy, David Hernandez and Kyle Koo from American Idol, the cast of Piranha and Gypsy nightclubs, the Chippendales, and more. Proceeds support Aid for AIDS of Nevada's critical programs, providing housing, transportation, food, and medical case management for those living with or affected by HIV/AIDS. Visit afanlv.org to learn more and purchase your tickets today. That's afanlv.org. The Rita Deenan Abbey Art Museum presents RDA Performs. Its inaugural season of 4 intimate concerts where architecture, art, and music converge. With just 75 seats per performance, this boutique series transforms the museum into a resonant, living gallery of sound. The season's 4 live performances include piano portraits, a piano duet dialogue, ancient echoes, Baroque music and modern resonance, Broadway reimagined, and desert sounds, rain spell. Each concert offers a singular artistic expression where space, silence, and sound are part of the story. RDA Performs. It's a collaboration between the Rita Deenan Abbey Art Museum and international award-winning pianist Alexandria Lee, the series artistic director. For more information and to purchase a subscription series, visit ritadeenanabbeymuseum.org. So, have you come to any conclusions yet as to what you need to do that maybe prior administrations weren't doing?
So, making sure that the resources that we have are directed to the classroom and used appropriately. We are still about $4,000 less than the national average per child. And so you multiply that 4,000 times 300,000 children, you can do the math. We need to make
Well,
sure.
hopefully I could do the math as a product of the Clark County School District. So,
Yes.
I mean, that's
Oh
what
my
we're all
goodness.
hoping.
Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh.
And so now we're going out into the community. So I hope your listeners will join us and come to the community events. I'm sure we can all think of, and maybe you can too, David, one thing that if you could have what you want, what would you have? What's the one thing that you would change about the Clark County School District to make it a better place to come work, live, play, learn? All of those pieces.
Superintendent Ebert, I did see also, I read that report I was going to get tested on it that your office put out. One of the things that stood out to me in that first 100 days was a stat about visiting homes to check on students, especially those who are chronically absent. And you've mentioned already parental engagement, parental involvement a couple of times. Your report indicated that there were more than 520 family home visits and that there were additionally calls to more than 4,400 families just in August of this year, 2025. So what did you learn?
And well, first and foremost, we were just talking about partnerships, and we had the municipalities, and we actually had council people from the city of North Las Vegas and Henderson join us on the community walks, right? It's going to take all of us. I too went knocking on doors myself and to find out where children, in some instances, families literally had moved. Also, too, we knocked on a door with one family and they said, they were wondering, it was a Monday, they're wondering why we were there because they had already registered that morning. They were not aware that school had started.
Wow.
We make this assumption that everyone no matter all the Cox back to school and all, you help us advertise that school's starting. This family literally did not know school had started.
Yeah.
And it's at that point in time when you realize it's really the high touch. You have to get, no matter, because these are families that we had called prior to going on knocking on doors. So we had, you kind of, again, triage, right? You find out who's not there, use that data. Then you make the phone calls. And if there's no response, then you go out to the homes. So we needed to do it quickly. We do have attendance officers who do go into homes, knock on doors. That's decades. That's not something new for the Clark County School District. But what we needed, which hasn't happened in quite a while, was to have hundreds of people go out into the field and knock on doors.
Yeah, and it seems, and kudos to going out in August. It's a little hot out there for door-to-dooring, but it needs to be done. And I think that the different tone might be something that I'm hearing from you, as opposed to, knock, knock, you're in trouble, you're not sending your kid, what's going on, we're looking for bad things, versus what it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, knock, knock, hi, we're here to help. Hey, what's going on? How could we learn from you so that we can make it better for you and people similarly situated? Am I giving you too much credit, or is that exactly right?
No, you're absolutely, that's the conversation that the team and I had. It is, and that's why we actually wore, we were all in the same color, Nevada blue, and it was bright futures, and it was how can we help you? What are the resources that you need to make sure that your child comes to school every day?
And I appreciate the anecdote about the family that didn't know school had started. I'm sure that wasn't isolated, but that's very interesting. But what other action items perhaps are coming out of the inspiration of some of those interactions with parents that you just did back in August?
Bringing back a parent community structure with the superintendent. We do have, every single school has an SOT, and that group of parents right there is working directly with the principal and the assistant principals at that school building. And David, you know what? I do want to, when I say community, people ask, if not, and I don't know if you have children or not, but I'm inviting you. Community means community. It means the entire Southern Nevada community, because 20% of our population is in our schools, right? They're all younger than 18, 20%, but they are 100% of our future. And if they are not successful, the entire community will not be successful.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've heard this from plenty of parents, and it does come up in these school board meetings, but, people say we want to see student outcomes increase. We want to see the specifics for how you're going to do that before we invest even more money into the education system. And I think they point to some of the historic increases in public education funding, but these new reports of stagnancy. So how do you respond to those comments, which I know you've heard?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And they're wrong. Every time that we've invested in education, we've seen jumps in student outcomes. And that's what I'm saying is, let's look at the data. Where we do not do well in the bottom is funding education. That's where the F is in funding. We do not fund education. We're $4,000 below the average. When I was in New York, we were funding $24,000 per kid. At the same time in Nevada, at that moment, we were funding $8,000 here. Our kids are competing against children Now, I'm not saying go fund, 20. Please do not get me, go out and say, oh, she's saying, it's fund 24. No, but we do need to make an investment into our children. Every single time that we've made an investment, student gains have been made. And that's
But
hard data. That's
But why not shoot for 24? If that's going to pull us out of the look, I always quote Congresswoman Dina Titus because she has the snappiest way to say it. But others have said the same. We're always at the bottom of the good list and the top of the bad list, and education is consistently a bottom list item for us. So what happens here?
But see, that's not true. Education is not always at the bottom. When you look at our music programs in the Clark County School District for 25 straight years, we've been the nation's top performance in music. We have children that go to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, UNLV. We should all celebrate the kids going to UNLV.
That show up as hosts of podcasts. And I get it. There are a lot of great accomplishments. I have a lot of peers, and I'm very proud of their accomplishments coming out of the school district too. But we also look at the other metrics, right? Dropout, reading levels, these scorecards from these national entities that use these objective metrics, and Nevada does consistently show up on the bottom. Is it just a matter of funding? I mean, would that change everything?
No, that would not change everything. And that's why I don't advocate for jumping, all the way because you have to use the funds responsibly. I am a fiscally responsive person. I've always been that way in my career. Team come and ask for things and they know they better come, fully loaded, fully justified for what the expense is going to be. I do want to go back and push on you. We can sit and admire, things, what are you going to do? Okay, sit and admire the problem. Well, what is the solution that you think we're not implementing? What is it because we can sit, I don't want to just sit and admire the problem. I know what the problems are. Mm-hmm. I know everything that you have said. We are on a trajectory to move out of those problems into solutions. And funding is part of that solution.
Well, I love that you're pushing back on me. And, hey, you want to put me in a room with a pad of legal paper and have me write out some solutions? Maybe that might be a fun thing to do. But I will say this. You do have a lot of students, and there are a lot of challenges that do come out of our school district. And I know that when people consider moving here or big businesses moving here, they do cite those metrics, right? And I'm not giving away any state secrets when I say that your predecessor, Jesus Jara, was somewhat polarized and was often under scrutiny for lack of accountability and these faculty relations and the overall student achievement metrics. You've inherited many of the same challenges and, dare I say, lingering skepticism. So what specific things, I think people want to hear specificity as opposed to, and look, they're great platitudes, and I'm not criticizing you for platitudes. Platitudes are really important. They're the fuel of driving action. But what are the action items that are different?
So let's start with the teacher's contract. We have settled before school started. The teacher's contract was ratified by the teachers union 97% before school started. That's the first time in decades. When you can solve those large problems, get those big rocks, right, out of the way, we settled the teacher's contract. There were components that were asked for that made it in, right? It's a negotiation. Now the teachers can focus on teaching, right? They're not worried about, what is my paycheck going to be? Are they going to settle? How long is it going to, are we going to go to arbitration? That weighs on a teacher. So those are massive rocks that we have accomplished really quickly, again, for us to be able to focus on teaching and learning in the classroom. One of the other pieces too, just stress and empower. I've leaned in on, and I don't know if it was true or not. I was not here, but people did not feel empowered to do their job. I have been very clear. Please go do your job. You are you are empowered. Don't wait for the superintendent to come and say, I want you to do this, 1, 2, 3. I'm not in their classroom. I'm not there with their students. We are paying them to do their job. You are empowered to do it. Yes, will we hold you accountable at the end of the day for the outcomes? 100%. But I need to trust coming up again. I need to trust that they are going to do their job. And if they need additional supports, they will go to their administrators. Their administrators will help them, and we will make sure that they can move forward. But the data that was released today, and if you can work that in somehow on the show, is phenomenal. We've made gains and again on that trajectory, and we'll be past pre-pandemic outcomes, student achievement this time next year.
Well, Superintendent Jhone Ebert, I really appreciate you taking the time. Congrats on the first 100 days. May each 100 days in succession be more successful. And thank you for being here on CityCast Las Vegas.
Thank you. This is a fun time, and anytime, love to be able to share what we're doing here in the Clark County School District.
And listener, don't go anywhere. In just a second, we've got a segment sponsored by AFAN about how the Black and White Party will benefit their mission to provide support for adults and children affected by HIV/AIDS in Southern Nevada. Hey, it's David here with Antioco Carrillo, Executive Director, and Andrew Ryan, the Marketing and Events Director of AFAN. So, Antioco, we have been hearing a lot about uncertainty around nonprofit funding and research. How is that impacting organizations like AFAN and the people you serve?
Hi, David. Thank you for having us. It has been very challenging over the last 6 months, several months, because uncertainty always creates anxiety. And anxiety is not only felt within the organization, it's also felt with the clients. So the clients have a tendency to just think twice before they access services. So for us, knowing that there may be some changes in funding, it's problematic because it stops us from planning for the future the way we planned before and from continuing the provision of services that we had planned in the past. Why? Because clients may not feel comfortable coming and accessing services, or we may not be able to have the services available as a result of changes in funding. And if we don't have resources available, then clients are going to fall through the cracks.
Yeah. So are you saying that a lot of the community that you serve is feeling a little intimidated right now by some of the policies of the government and the uncertainty of whether or not, medicine or care or services are even going to be available when they go to AFAN?
Absolutely, because part of the challenge is that if there's any changes in funding, any modification in how the funds are distributed to the community, that has ripple effect down to the client. That effect affects, the bottom line. People are feeling very uncomfortable. Many times people feel that there's no more services available, and as a result, they neglect their health, and we will have a problem again with HIV. So the other concern that I have is that if there's any changes at any level of HIV prevention funding, the infections will continue to rise. Right now, we have an average of 500 people that are newly diagnosed with HIV in Clark County, 500 a year. And I am concerned that if there's some uncertainty of funding, those numbers are going to really grow tremendously, and it's going to be a challenge for us to contain it.
Yeah, I mean, AFAN has been a long time in our community. They don't just help the LGBTQ community, but anyone who is impacted. So for anyone listening who wants to help, what are some of the most impactful ways that people can really step up and support AFAN?
They can go to our website and they can visit our website and donate. Whatever amount, it's always welcome. That'll keep the level of services we have, and that'll keep, the ability for us to continue expanding some of the services we have in light of all this uncertainty. Also, they can certainly attend our events. They can certainly attend our events and purchase tickets and make sure that they are actively involved and pay attention to our social media to see all the events that we have. When they support our events, inevitably they support our programming.
Yeah, and one of the biggest events, really, of the year for all of Las Vegas is the Big Black and White Gala. I've been in the past. It's always an incredible time. Andrew, I want to bring you in. How would you describe the experience and what guests can expect this year at the Big Black and White Gala?
Well, the Black and White Party is the most anticipated charity event of the year in Las Vegas, mostly because it's so different. It's not a plated dinner, it's not a sit-down event, it's a party, and it's a costume party as well. This party started out of the need to fill the food pantry for AFAN, and people were encouraged to bring generic black and white cans of food. So that's what started the dress code. And now that we've evolved, the dress code has become wear as much black and white as you want or as little as you can get away with.
Yeah, it's funny you say it's not a sit-down event. I think if you sit down, you're really missing out. It's really a fluid event where people are dancing their butts off, and everyone really does look fabulous. I think the worst outfit is still amazing.
And, we encourage people to move around, like you said, because there's photo activations, there's liquor sponsors that do liquor samplings, we have food activations, so many things to do when you can move around the party, see your friends. It's inside, outside, so there's really something for everyone.
Yeah, and where is it being held this year?
At the Palms, which we've done several times over the years. They're sort of one of our home away from homes.
Yeah, no, I used to go way back when it was at the Hard Rock. So many, many years ago. So where can listeners grab their tickets? And are there any insider tips like VIP perks or can't miss moments for those who are planning to attend?
Definitely. So afanlv.org is our website. That's where you can pick up tickets. We still have a few VIP tables left where you can get bottle service, very limited. Those always sell out. But what I would encourage people to do if you're interested in giving a little bit more this year is look at the VIP tickets and the VIP Plus tickets because we have an hour open bar during the VIP reception. So you can really start off the night right with an open bar for the first hour. And then once the main event starts at 9 o'clock, you're ready to party. And we have back-to-back entertainment from shows up and down the strip, special entertainment coming in from out of town. So a lot of fun, something new and exciting. Every 15 minutes is going to be on that stage from 9 p.m. until midnight.
Yeah, no, the entertainment is top notch. People, like I said, dancing their butts off to the best music, and just the visuals alone, absolutely worth it. Antioco and Andrew, thank you so much for being here. And again, check out afanlv.org to learn more. We'll have that link for you in our show notes as well, so you're just a click away. Thanks for listening. And that's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, hey, go tell a friend. Rate our show. Give us a grade if you like. Leave us a review too and subscribe to our morning newsletter. And don't forget, you can support this show and get some great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Till then, stay lucky.